Hey folks, thanks for joining me today. So in today's tutorial, we are doing a February moon, which is the snow moon. So it is on February the 24th, and I thought, why not do part of my series and put on a snowflake? So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm going to apologize right now that I'm sorry for the video to be so long. It was a lot longer than this, and I sped it up 3 times the speed. So I really can't paint this fast, but it looks impressive though, doesn't it? But no, I cannot paint this fast, and it's just the video itself has been sped up. So I'm painting the moon right now. So I drew on 2 circles at the beginning, and then I put a base coat of white. And then while that white was still wet, I'm using a rounded brush to put on some blue color. So what I'm using is Copen blue by Delta, and I'm just adding it in and then blending it in while the paint is all still wet. So this gives me different variations of color of blue and white, and I'm keeping most of the darkness to the left side and the bottom, and then the top side and the right side is going to be lighter. So that just gives the illusion that it's glowing, I guess, or like the sun is shining on one side of it, but still getting the whole thing. So it's a full moon. And I just keep blending, and I'm just adding more white, or I add some more blue, and I just sort of dab my paintbrush all over the place with no really design in mind, other than I want the moon to have kind of that look of darkness and the lightness, just to show that there's like craters, and that the moon is not perfectly circular or perfectly round, or it's got bumps and lumps in it just like Earth does. So that's what I'm doing here, is I'm just making all of those things appear. So I do spend a lot of time on this, and you don't have to spend as much time as I do. I just, honestly, I shouldn't have spent as much time on this, because I'm just going to end up covering it up with the snowflake. But it's nice to have the background done. And then I use a finger dauber, as you've been watching me here, just to blend it all in so it's not so sharp. And it actually looks really good. I'm really, really happy with the way that it turned out. And this being my second moon of the moon series, I think that it turned out pretty good. So I just use my finger dauber, and I continue to daub around it. And then now I'm fixing up all of those little mistakes, or where I went and blended or dabbed out of the lines. And I'm just crisping it up a bit, because I am going to be putting on some white Enchanted shimmer paint around it to make it look like it's glowing even more. So I really like the glitter and bling bling and all of that kind of really cool stuff to make things really shine. I'm very attracted to that sort of thing. Let me know in the comments below if you are as well. It is something that, especially jewelry stores, when I'm walking in the mall and I see a jewelry store, I have to stop and look. It's not because I want a new pair of earrings, or, another necklace. I'm just so attracted to the glitter of them. So I always am attracted to it. Sort of like a magnet. But anyway, so yeah, glittery, bling bling stuff that shines. Absolutely my favorite. And I really like how this sort of illuminates the moon. And I just do it on the edge. So wherever I just cleaned up, you'll notice that I didn't paint the moon all the way to the first circle, because I had this in mind, that I wanted to put this glitter paint on here and make it really give it the illusion that it's glowing. And that's why I'm now going to the edge of that. And I go all the way around, and then you'll see in a few minutes that I actually put on some white, some pure white, and again, it's by DecoArt. Um, and that's just to really highlight the light side of the moon, and I leave a little bit of darker areas for the dark side of the moon. Uh, so yeah, so that is basically the moon part. And again, I apologize that this video is so long, but I really wanted to capture everything. So that's what I hope that I've done. And I don't usually do videos this long, but I really wanted you guys to watch every step of the way that I do this so that you can go and try it on your own. Or maybe I'm providing some kind of inspiration to you to try something new that you've never done before. I'd really like to know. Leave me a comment down below and let me know, because I'd love to read your comments. And yeah, this was really fun to do, and I'm so glad that I picked the moon series to do for this year. There's one that's coming up that I think it's the next one. I'm not too sure how I'm going to do it, but I got a month. So stay tuned for that, because that one will be coming up as well. It's a bit of an odd one. I'm not going to give it away. If you want to Google the moon cycles for 2024, go ahead and it'll tell you what it is. But I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to paint it, but we're going to do it. And because it's part of the moon series. So now what I'm doing here, as you can see, is I'm just adding a little bit of the darker blue color, adding a little bit of white, just to give it a little bit of a darker, or sorry, a lighter shade than the dark sections on the moon. And then I'm just sort of outlining it a bit with a very, very thin line of the white paint, just to give it that essence of it glowing. So this was probably the majority of the video that I did for it being so long, because I went back and fixed it up and cleaned it up and then added something more and cleaned it up again. And so if you want to just fast forward this, you can go right to the snowflake if you want. And it's just, I don't know, I really wanted to show you guys the entire process of something, and I have cut a lot of it out, but yeah, again, I'm sorry it's so long. But I'm really happy that you're here joining me to watch this video, and that you're hanging with me for these 22 minutes of this very long video. So now what I'm doing is I'm putting on some guidelines for the snowflake. I've let the rock completely dry before I did this. This is a silicone guidelines from the Happy Dotting Company that it is actually formed for the size of rock that I'm using, because I also made this rock from a mold from the Happy Dotting Company. And you may notice there's a few extra ticks, and that's because I kind of lost which ticks I was putting on the rock. But I'm just using my General's charcoal pencil to make the outlines. It wipes off so easily after if you don't cover it all up with paint. And I did 6 lines. So I did, if you think of it as a compass, I did north, south, east, and west. And then I did all of the ones in between. So northeast, southeast, northwest, and southwest. So I have the 6 lines. It's a section of 6, of 8. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, 8. And so it's going to be an 8-pointed snowflake. And so I'm again going in. This time I'm using the Copen blue in its pure form, and I am making the center of the snowflake. Then I am drawing the lines out, following those lines that I drew on with my charcoal pencil, and bringing it out to the very edge of the moon. And I do it for all of the lines that come from the points that I made from the center of the snowflake. So I did originally have it sketched on so it would be like a flower type, but I really liked it being pointed instead of being rounded. And I still wanted to have the roundness part of it, of the snowflake in here, so that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm just adding little teardrop shapes at the very end of those lines, and they just slightly go over the edge of the moon so that it is still capturing the moon that's behind it, but that I'm also capturing the snowflake that is in front. And no snowflakes are, I should say, no two snowflakes are the same. So you design this one, and then the next time you go to design another snowflake, just slightly change it up, and you're keeping in with Mother Nature. And it'll look so pretty when you're done. Something so simple that turned out so pretty. Like, honest to goodness, I was so impressed with how pretty the snowflake turned out that I forgot that I had this beautiful moon as the background. So, but it's just very simple shapes that I'm using, and it's all about the detail in the snowflake that really brings it out and looks complicated, but it's actually very, very simple. So now I'm adding these little triangles, and I tried very hard to keep them symmetrical, but I'm not so good without having guidelines for this part. Straight lines I'm never very good with unless I have the guidelines, but I made it work anyways. And I would thicken them up if I needed to. I would make them longer if I needed to, or I just left them alone. So it's just part of the process and how you do things and how you make things to be your own and truly uniquely yours. And I'm just here to give you inspiration and show you maybe something you didn't know before, or maybe doing a snowflake was something you've always wanted to try. Like myself, I've never done one before. Um, and so I just thought, well, let's dissect it. Let's really look at what details are involved with painting a snowflake. So yeah, basically all it is simple shapes put together to make a symmetrical design, as symmetrical as possible, and then just adding small little details. And I'm telling you, when you see this thing transform, it's amazing. I have already mentioned a few of the colors that I used. Now, if I have forgotten to mention any, I do list them all in the description below. So I list the brand names and the actual name of the paint so that if you wanted to, you could go and see what you have in your stock, or go to the store and get some of the same colors and make it exactly this. But I really encourage you to see what you have in your stash and make it any color you want. There's no rules when it comes to being creative. So just do what you can do with what you have. And I'm encouraging you to definitely make this a different color, or use what colors you have, even make your own colors. There's so much you can do when it comes to this kind of painting. So you'll see now I am doing more triangles, but these ones are really long and very skinny. And I do them so they kind of reach out to each other. And now they're not symmetrical at all. Some are not so close and some are further away. But you know what? That's okay, because it is a beautiful snowflake. And because I don't have any guidelines to follow, I'm just doing this freehand, and it is what it is. You know, this is how my creativity sort of came out on the day that I painted this. So I hope to see snowflakes that you've painted. You can always head over to my Facebook page and hook up over there, and you can post your pictures of your paintings. I encourage you to do so. I also post a lot of things there that are not on YouTube. So when I am putting up things into my Etsy shop, or if I have deals going on in my Etsy shop, which by the way, I have 20% off almost everything in my shop right now. So make sure you head on over there and see what kind of deals you can grab up. I will be posting some newer items in the next couple of weeks. I have had some issues posting some of my newer stuff in the last couple of weeks. The pictures just were not loading. They weren't, for whatever reason, they just wouldn't load. So I haven't been able to post anything. So I do have a 20% off almost everything in the store right now. And all the prices have been marked down. So make sure you go and check that out. And I'm hoping that I can get this upload thing figured out so that I can start loading up new stock that I have. So stay tuned for that. And as soon as I get that done, I will let you know. And then you'll see some of the newer stuff that I have that I'm going to start posting things for sale that have not been on YouTube so that you can go and see some of my other kind of artsy stuff that I do with my paintings. So, but like I said, right now, 20% off almost everything in the store. And my link to my Etsy shop is in the description below. So go on over and check that out. And the last piece of housekeeping, as I say in all of my videos, if you like this video, give me the thumbs up. If you're new here, welcome. Make sure you subscribe so you can be a part of this family. And make sure you ring the bell so that you get a notification every time I post. I do try to post every week, and I like to bring new content as much as possible. So make sure thumbs up, subscribe, and ring the bell. And I encourage you to share as well. If you think somebody, a friend or a family member would be interested in this kind of tutorials, please share my video with them. They may not know that I'm out there. So having you share would get that person into what I'm doing as well. So I totally encourage you to do that as well. Okay, so now that's all out of the way, let's get back to what I'm doing. I'm now getting into doing the details of the snowflake. So while I was talking before, you would have seen me use my dotting tools to make some dots in between the chevrons. Then I went in with some white paint in the center, and I really made those petals stick out so that they were sharp and that they were now part of the snowflake rather than looking just like a blob in the middle. And now I'm just doing outlining with white paint, which is so out of character because I prefer to outline in gold or in black, but in this instance we're using white. So I'm just going along the outside of all of those triangles that I did, or the chevrons. I did paint a white line all the way straight up to the teardrops. And now I'm just putting on some really quick flicks, I guess, of the paintbrush to give these little white ticks on the snowflake. And look at how something so simple is making this look so pretty. I mean, it's just unreal to do something so quick and easy to make it look so pretty. Like it blew me away. So I'm doing the same technique on the other side of those chevrons. And just really quickly, my paintbrush isn't loaded up with very much paint. It's just very little paint. And I'm just giving it a good flick. Excuse me. Giving it a quick flick so that I have these little tiny lines. And I don't care if they are equal because that's not what I'm going for. I'm going for symmetrical in a sense, or symmetry in a sense, but not perfect. So now I'm just doing a little line on those really long skinny ones. And now I'm dotting the white dots with my tools that I received from the dotting center. And I'm just putting them on all of those big circles of blue on the teardrops, because then it looks like there's a white part and then it tapers down into the point of the teardrop, which I thought looked really cool. And I'm just, filling in the blanks, whatever I think needs to be filled in to make this really look as pretty as it possibly can. And I just want to point out that I've only used 3 colors in this tutorial. And, well, 4 if you count the black background. So this is done with only 3 paint colors, which is absolutely amazing. And this is a technique that I've always wanted to try, and I've been too nervous or too scared to do it. But I finally decided it was time. So by using a paintbrush, I am actually doing these little swoops around. And look how pretty they are. I was impressed, but I was not that confident to do the other side. So I just did some dots. But honestly, I think it looks so pretty. Like, it's absolutely gorgeous. I can't get over how well this turned out based on just a few different paint strokes, dots, and only a couple of colors of paint. Like, absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. And just when you think you're finished, you're not. You got to put on the bling bling. So I'm putting on some of that shimmer paint onto the snowflake on the inside there. And then I've got to finish off those points. So I put on another white dot and I just leave it like that. It's very simple and it's elegant. It's beautiful. So I let it dry. I give it a coat of resin and then she's done. So there you have it, folks. Life is what you make it. So get creative.